Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast, pitcherlist.com. I'm your host, Eric Samulski, joined on the final day of June.
Oh, yeah.
We're halfway through the MLB season. Officially.
Here we are.
Nick Pollack.
Hi, what is happening? We are halfway through. And I want to tell everybody, thank you for still being here. We are not going to leave you. I do my Plus Pitch podcast all the way through September, do all the streaming stuff. I'm aiming to have my top 200 done within the first week of October. So there's that other sport, and I just want to let you know, I think it's stupid. I think it's very stupid.
You mean tennis, right? Because Wimbledon started today.
I'm actually going to the Open. I've never been before.
The U.S. Open?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's one of the best. We go every year.
Oh, man.
Are you going in one of the first days of the tournament?
I want to say it's like the second round or something like that.
Beautiful. If you go in like the first or second round, you show up early. You just basically walk to all the outside courts. You don't even have to really worry about going to the stadiums. Just walk around. It's an awesome time. Love it.
That's great.
We took my son. He was born. His birthday is today.
Oh,
so he was born June 30th, and we took him like he was 2 months old, and we took him to the U.S. Open.
Oh, wow. So you had the the headphones and everything.
Well, yeah, we had the headphones, but also we had the stroller, and we just walked around the outside courts. And when it wasn't too hot and when he wasn't sleeping, we brought him out, and when he was sleeping, we just pushed him around the stroller. It was awesome.
So here's the thing. I told Eric, hey, let's do it in a tight hour. And here we are. What are we doing today?
We're gonna do it in a tight hour, but also we're chopping it up a little bit. It's always nice. It's fun. But yes, we're gonna do this in a tight hour because then my son's home from summer camp, and we're gonna do a little birthday dinner. So we're gonna get out of here. But yes, the theme for today is birthday presents.
Yeah. I wonder
either ones that you've gotten, ones that you wanted to get, stereotypical ones, fictional ones like a movie birthday present, whatever it is. Birthday presents.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. We're going to start with tier number 1, which starts with starting pitcher number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Zach Wheeler. Number 3, Garrett Crochet. Number 4, Paul Skeens. Number 5, Jacob deGrom. Number 6, Max Fried. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
I mean, I feel like this is the, it's whatever symbolic thing it is. But for me, and a lot of kids my age, it was whatever the latest video game console that you wanted was. And it's just like, that's always going to win with the kid, like I remember wanting a Game Boy so much. And then my parents, I guess they didn't wrap it. They put it underneath the sofa. So I had to like run across and like slid on the floor and like got it, I was so excited when I was a kid. But yeah, it's totally what it is.
Just a quick note on Skeens at 4. I mean, in the preseason, you mentioned some concerns about the hitability of the fastball. Obviously, you're picking nits when you're up here, but I think people might be shocked that we're talking about Skeens at 4 just because he seemed like such a lock 1-2 with Skubal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's not going to be a strikeout guy in the same way that Tarek Skubal and Crochet are. He shouldn't be a 30+% strikeout guy. It's a product of his four-seamer not being the shape of a normal dominant four-seamer. It's actually something that has more unexpected drop under the bat than above it. So that's fine. He's still amazing, obviously. I'm not even doing this based on last week's performance. It's just that Zach Wheeler has been so good for so long, so I have to put him in there. He was also having that 30% strikeout rate. You have Garrett Crochet, who is just a better win chance and more strikeouts. So there you go.
Yep. I also just want to highlight Jacob deGrom here at number 5. I have done a lot of soul searching this year on my my comfort with injured starting pitchers and how I think I relied too heavily on some of them early in the season. And I think Jacob deGrom is a really good lesson right now for Shane McClanahan, Grayson Rodriguez, guys like that, where like if we can see 3 or 4 healthy, good starts to wrap up this year, that should make us feel pretty confident in drafting them in 2026 rather than crossing our fingers and thinking, hey, this guy's been out for long enough, recovered for long enough, we should see a healthy season.
Yeah.
deGrom had 3 starts last year and they looked
fine,
like 95% Jacob deGrom.
Right.
And that should have, you and I both ranked him inside the top 10. It should have made us feel confident in his health wise or his performance. I think we're getting a better year than a lot of people thought because of just, knock on wood, but the duration of it. So good for
it
him.
is an interesting lesson. It's hard to really create a proper lesson just because it's all small sample of injuries and things are always weird and random a lot when it comes to injury. Obviously, there are certain things and, it's tough to tell, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would give a benefit, of course, if you came back and then you are able to have a proper offseason. I think that is always a good thing as well. But, there are stories of people coming back from Tommy John and being successful after, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a lock that, that we have to avoid it completely now. But, yeah, certainly it is a lesson for me of, all right, I will at least start more conservatively in my rankings for those who have not pitched at all.
Yes. Unless it's Sawyer Gibson Long, then fire it up. Let's go.
We'll see.
I know. We'll get there. Tier number 2 starts with number 7, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Number 8, Logan Webb. Number 9, Joe Ryan. Number 10, Hunter Brown. Number 11, Brian Woo. Number 12, Spencer Schwellenbach. Number 13, Carlos Rodon. Number 14, Framber Valdez. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is money. Just give me the money. It's not really the thing that you're like so excited about, which is tier 1, but that it's always there. I'm like, yes, give me the money.
Honestly,
$100. Thanks, Grandma. I mean, that's a good night's grandma, by the way.
Yeah.
$20. Thank you so much.
Yes. $20 bill when you're a kid. Sometimes you get a little check when you get older, but yeah, it's always nice. Amazon gift card is basically money, whatever.
Yeah,
or,
pretty much. Yeah.
Visa gift card, whatever those used to be. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. A lot of these guys we've talked about before. Some of them bumped up a couple because of injuries. Hunter Brown, Brian Woo, Spencer Schwellenbach, younger guys who are just establishing some consistency and proving a consistent level of success as the year goes on, unless there's something you feel like you want to add for any of these guys in particular.
No, not really. I mean, it's a week of promotions. So Brown, Woo, Schwellenbach, and Valdez all got the AGA label this week. I don't think anyone would say no.
It's like graduation day.
Yeah, it's graduation day, and you get your money. So
you get your money.
No, Valdez got his curveball back. That's cool. And also, we finally saw Schwellenbach get slider whiffs. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hunter Brown he's in your top 10 right now. That's been a discussion throughout the year, but he's here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a case where the secondaries are coming more alive more often, especially with the curveball. With Hunter Brown and the four seamer. Actually, I didn't expect to be around 97 throughout the year, and we've seen that a lot. So it's like 96.7 or so, but that's totally different than 95, 96. I think anyone who has Hunter Brown is like about time, Nick. I do want to mention, I think what Joe Ryan does and Logan Webb does and Yamamoto do, like all those three guys are all, I think, a more refined arsenal that makes me more confident for the second half. But yeah, I understand that Hunter Brown has been this good and never question Eno again. That's the real lesson.
Hey, it's always okay to question. We should just note, I know this is a pitching podcast, so we won't belabor the point. Jeremy Pena has a small fracture in the rib. Was a well-graded defensive shortstop, which impacts pitching. And then also with Yordan Alvarez also currently out. We'll just see what it does to the Houston offense and potential win totals and things like that. You're not doing anything differently with Hunter Brown, but it's just something to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks. If you just see the defense behind him get worse or the offense put up fewer runs or whatever.
Yeah.
Next we go to tier number 3, which starts with number 15, Logan Gilbert, number 16, Robbie Ray, number 17, Mackenzie Gore, number 18, Jacob Mizorowski, number 19, Ranger Suarez, number 20, Shota Imanaga, and number 21, Jesus Luzardo. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
These are your friends visiting. And that's always a lovely birthday gift of somebody coming to town that you don't get to necessarily see a lot. And what it does, it means that maybe after this, they can become that really close friend again. Right. And that's what tier 3 is. These are the guys we want to be aces, the ones that are rocks in our lives. And, it starts right here. So first you got to say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you made this trip for me. This is incredible." You know what? Yeah, maybe I'll come out there too.
I can't believe you made this trip for me, Jacob Mizorowski.
Yes.
Took a while,
the
but
major.
you're here.
Thank you.
And you're everything that I hoped for. Yeah, listen, that the playback live stream, which if you didn't check it out, was Wednesday. Nick and Eno were doing a live recording of the craft that I crashed, and then Justin Mason crashed.
Oh yeah,
it was fun to watch that game, discuss it, and yeah, like listen, I'm not saying Mizorowski is better than Paul Skeens, but it is wild to watch a pitcher whose raw stuff makes you maybe sit up as much, if not more so, than what Skeens does. And I don't know how long it'll last for Mizorowski because we know the command issues have been a thing in the minors, but when it's on, it's really good.
Well, the thing is, it has been more on than off in the minors. It's really just been
for
like
sure. Well, especially this year. Especially
this year completely. I think it was like 6 games straight of just like 1 or 2 walks. I'm watching him and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to see maybe 60% strikes or so, probably 55%.
The old hated bird song.
Yeah, bird song or the Boyle side or something like that. It's been far, far better than I expected. So I'm at this point of just saying, okay, we're waiting for the pin to drop, but it hasn't. And meanwhile, it's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, I want to just give him aces against ace, but that's how we're going to treat him, I think.
Yeah.
At the very least, though, he's not having the track record yet. It's 3 starts, and we need to see it for long enough for me to really say, okay, fine, ace is going to ace. I mean, it's kind of like it is with Ranger Suarez after, in the sense of Ranger Suarez has been so good. It's kind of wild. Even actually in his first start back, Ranger Suarez showed the command. It was just really bad. It was like 3.2 innings or something like that. I think he gave up 500 runs in 1 inning, something along those lines. It was a bad outing. And I was like, oh no, he's not very good right now. I'm like, well, actually, he's doing the the cutter and the changeup really well, and I like this. And all of a sudden, he's just what, 1 earned run per game for like 10 starts now. It's something stupid. So Ranger Suarez, hi, you've been an ace for these teams.
Yeah,
it's also a case that we see Ranger Suarez go in and out. Like, it's what he does. He goes on these large stretches, and something happens, and it goes away. So I don't know how long it's going to last.
We saw it last year when you got criticized for how low you were ranking him, and then his Cy Young season slowly deteriorated a little bit. Ranger Suarez, but yeah, rock solid pitcher. Some of the if it's a fully healthy starting pitcher landscape, he's probably somewhere in the mid to late 20s, but there's a lot of guys who would normally be ahead of him who are out, and I get acknowledging just the run of performance right now. We should note on Mizorowski, Brandon Woodruff threw 83 pitches at AAA yesterday on Sunday. Woodruff feels like a guy where when he's ready to go, the Brewers are going to put him in the rotation. They're not going to leave him at AAA. They're not going to move him to the bullpen. Like, he's just been a big part of that organization.
Mm-hmm.
You would like to believe that Mizorowski has done enough that Chad Patrick maybe is the guy to go down if they don't go to a 6-man, but we'll see what the move is when the move is made, but that feels like a move that's coming in the next couple of weeks, is fitting Woodruff back into the rotation.
Well, there's 3 things at play. One, there's no way Mizorowski's getting displaced.
I agree with you.
The Brewers right now are 47-37. I don't think you're even suggesting that.
No.
And they're 2 games back in the Central, and this is the most electric picture ever. You got to lean on this.
I think it was possible when they called him up, it was possible he would be sent back down if he was fine in his first few starts. He's been too good now to send back down. I don't see how they could defend it.
Right. Second thing is that Brandon Woodruff, from my understanding, has not done very well. At least
he has.
Stuff is nothing close to what it used to be.
No.
Which makes me feel, well, hold on. Do they actually want to displace Quinn Priester, who's looking good right now? Chad Patrick, who's also shown a lot more than we ever expected. And then it's Quintana and Freddie Peralta also in this mix. So it's just a question of why force a worse pitcher in? Don't make the Philadelphia Phillies mistake. Right. I mean, it's just like maybe he gets DFA'd. Maybe it's just he's not good and they
Maybe
let him loose. It's really a question of where he is at the end of that. Then they probably do a 6-man and see where they are.
Sure. That's my gut, because I think like somebody like Quintana can get shipped off at the deadline, something like that. I think given what Woodruff has done for the Brewers, and the fact they signed him to a 2-year deal, and then this was the second year, like I would be shocked if they DFA'd him, but I think a 6-man until it works out makes some sense. Anyway, I don't think it's going to impact Mizorowski. It just was something to note since that outing just happened.
It's a good thing. I mean, I'm with you about the Brewers not wanting to stick with Woodruff. It's just that if he really is just not good, he's like throwing 90, 91 or something, and it's just, what is this? The Brewers don't, they don't want to get Chad Patrick off of this. Quinn Priester's doing well. Like, you don't want to displace everything else.
Yeah, you could. It's a situation where you could see them send Patrick down to the minors for 2 or 3 starts to let Quintana get traded or Cortez get traded.
See if there's an injury or something. I get that. I understand. But I mean, you can, I don't know. I'm like, you guys are in this race right now. I hate when you throw in these Taijuan Walker situations in.
And the Central's fun. A lot of good pitchers in there we talked about. The pitcher who leads off the next year is in the East, not the Central, and it's number 22, Christopher Sanchez. Number 23, George Kirby. Number 24, Chris Bubich. Number 25, Seth Lugo. And number 26, Sonny Gray. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is these are tickets. And the thing is, it's just like it's obvious. Cool, I got you tickets to a game, or I got you to a concert or something. And you've gone to them before. But you're always like, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Right? We're going to go to this thing. Great, cool. That's all reliable. Your Hollies, it's not really the thing you always want. Sometimes maybe they look like it's like, oh my gosh, you got tickets to that thing? Oh man. But most of the time it's just like, hey, we're going to the Yankee game. All right.
And tickets are usually the things that people know you like. So even if you're not excited, it's like, I like this. It's fine. It's safe. It's nice.
Yeah.
We've been talking a little bit about, we're not like, Chris Bubich isn't falling apart. He's not falling off, but there is definitely a little bit of a regression from what we were seeing early in the year. Do we think that it's like an actual skills regression? Is this a guy who's been injured and maybe is just dealing with some fatigue, wearing down a little bit through a long season? What are you seeing?
No, I mean, the way I grasp Bubich is, okay, who are you? That's pretty much the question I've been asking is, are you someone who we actually think can hold a 26% K rate with this sub-3 ERA and 115 whip, right? Right now it's a 225 ERA, which we know is just not going to be the life that he lives. Still, like, how good is it moving forward? And if it maintains it this way, then yeah, you pretty much are an ace. I mean, the whip is obviously something to be like, wait, hold on a second. Like 113 in a 225 ERA, you're such a good home run suppressor at the moment. 0.47 homer per 9. I don't know if that's going to stick. That's 96th percentile. And with Bubich, it's a fastball that you don't think should be so good, but it's a 16% swing strike rate. His changeup has been at 22% across the year. And it does feel like he's pitching over his head a little with those pitches. We have seen the changeup not be as consistent. We've seen him lean heavily on the four-seam, which has still been productive, but it's not really this overwhelming, oh my gosh, Chris Bubich, we can't deal with this kind of pitcher. So I think he settles in as a Holly who's going to be around a 25% strikeout rate, who's going to have good ratios. Maybe the whip falls off a bit closer to 120 than 110. ERA 350 or something along those lines. And he'll also have those moments of showcasing something great, but he's not, I don't think, going to be ace is going to ace kind of guy the rest of the year, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what he's giving you. You're happy about it. Something to consider. And also, listen, because I had to do the blurbs for Roto World today, every possible pitcher who we thought might help with some spot starts in the second half of the season is not getting healthy. Kyle Wright, Alec Marsh, both had setbacks in their rehab. Like, there just aren't really guys that it's like, okay, let's let Bubich chill for a little bit. His innings totals are really high. Like, I just don't think they have that luxury. I think if anything, they might just ride it out as long as they're in the playoff race, and then maybe shut him down if they fall out of it and call it a season. But I'm not worried about his performance right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Tier number 5 starts with number 27, Freddie Peralta. Number 28, Dylan Cease. Number 29, Spencer Strider. Number 30, Chase Burns. Number 31, Ryan Pepio. Number 32, Will Warren. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This one, oh man, this is fireworks.
Okay.
So with fireworks, of course, it's so exciting, it's so fun, and honestly, I just think of like the Bill Baggins birthday party, my 100th birthday, and they had some ridiculous fireworks there. That's super exciting. But the thing is, I don't know if I really want fireworks. They're very dangerous, guys. Be careful.
Yeah.
So like the context of these fireworks is important. Are they going up far in the distance? Are they going right in front of your face? Like, sometimes it's going to be a great, amazing experience, and sometimes it's just not. So this is the cherry bomb tier. Fireworks seems like the perfect fit.
Speaking of fireworks, Chase Burns, 30th. Pretty good debut. Also live on playback. You guys could have checked that out on the Pitcher List channel.
Shea versus Burns tonight, by the way.
I know. That's going to be fun.
Oh, my gosh.
7 o'clock. It's the free game on MLB.tv. But yeah, Burns, listen, my takeaways, I wrote about him in my weekly starting pitching news article over on NBC Sports. My takeaways were similar to yours. And like the fastball has really great velocity and really poor extension, and the shape is mediocre, and it might get hit harder than, or not, it might get hit more often than people think, but the slider's really good. Maybe we see the change more a la Cade Horton when he gets more starts under his belt, and that could be good, but like he looks like a very good starting pitcher who maybe doesn't have the, oh my God, raw stuff of Jacob Mizorowski, but has really good stuff.
Yeah, he looks more polished with what he has than Mizorowski. But it's, as you mentioned, the four-seamer seems like it's a home run pitch, especially in Great American Ballpark. Despite getting 17 to 18 inches of vert, and we might see that settle into 16, 17 post-debut, that comes with an arm angle that makes it not as surprising as someone with a lower arm angle having the same amount of vert. That means that they are going to match its angle or a match and make contact with that pitch. My gosh, plenty. And also, as you mentioned, 6.4 extension, pretty average, slightly below average, right? So that also hurts the 98 a little bit. That, again, might come down. Even though we did see in his previous start in the minors, it was 98.7. So he actually kind of matched what he did at times. I'm also curious about the stamina, as we often see. How good is it in debuts? It's often burned out faster than usual, as they just expend so much in the first inning or two, and then it gets drained fast after that. So I'm curious to see how Chase Burns goes throughout the outing. But as you mentioned, the slider is the whiff pitch. That is the thing that is going to steer the ship or not. And the fact that he had a 75% strike rate with it and 25% swing strike rate should tell you enough about Chase Burns. It's also a situation where you should not have a high walk rate. It shouldn't be something where you're terrified about the chaos and the volatility of walks. So he profiles out a little bit like a Joe Ryan type of your potential for ERA 110 whip with a 25 to 30% K rate kind of thing. That is what I see a bit. It could be a better ERA than that, of course, if the changeup develops too. I'm very curious about it, but it does feel like someone that you're not dropping the rest of the year who's going to have strikeouts as well.
Yes. Boston, Philadelphia next, but then Coors at home, which is always nice to see.
Oh, it's not Coors then. It's Rocky Road.
Right. Sorry. The Rockies at home. Yes. Not Coors at home. One pitcher in this tier dropped double-digit spots, and I'll ask you about that player after this break. So Spencer Strider, down 10 spots. I know we don't always overreact to the number. It's about the tier. But there were some pitchers that also got hurt that were higher up. I mean, he dropped a full tier, if not two here. He had been climbing back up too after, a rough return. So I'm just curious what you're seeing from Spencer Strider that caused that.
So when you think about Spencer Strider, it's two things. Amazing slider that gets a ton of whiffs underneath, a high strike rate with it, lots of whiffs. And Strider has done that really well. So that box checked off. But the obvious one is, okay, how is the four-seamer? That has been the pitch with Spencer Strider. He throws it so hard and it's so unhittable and all this stuff. And he just throws that in the bam, there's the slider. Well, when we first saw Strider back, it was 95. And we want to see like 97, 98 on this pitch, right? We want to see it at 17, 18 inches of vert. And what we're getting is now 96 for a couple starts now, where the vert has been going down. And it was 15 to 16 inches, which we're already like, well, hold on a second. It was under 15 on Sunday for Spencer Strider in Philadelphia. And I'm just going, what? This isn't right. Wait, I don't think it was Philadelphia, but regardless, it wasn't a place that we think it should be a low, it's not, it's Coors or something that really diminishes vert. So this is I don't know. I'm kind of waiting for Strider to be Strider again. And it's getting harder and harder for me to hand wave things. It wasn't Philly. I'm just being dumb here. It's just what's going on. Spencer Strider, you do not have the same four-seamer that you used to have.
Right.
And I'm terrified about it. I think it's a lot to ask for Strider to be that 97, 98 pitcher of old. We saw this in 7 innings, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks because they fouled off so many of those heaters. Yeah, he's in cherry bomb tier. He's going to have some great games. He's going to have some questionable games. Yeah, not the same guy that we used to see with Strider.
Yeah, that was some of the concern heading into the year, and we're seeing it play out a little bit. Tier number 6 are 3 guys, none of whom moved their ranking at all. Number 33, Clark Schmidt. Number 34, Andrew Abbott. Number 35, Nathan Eovaldi. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This one is the bike. So like, it's going to get you places. That's good. And like, oh, you needed this. That's great. But to me, I mean, I live in New York, actually. Bikes aren't my favorite thing ever, but it's like, hey, you should have a bike. Cool.
I do love a bike. I'm not going to lie.
I know. I almost made a terrible admission here, and I'm not going to do it.
That you don't know how to ride a bike?
Okay, Eric, why are you going to suggest that? Come on.
Sorry. I don't know. That's foolish. All these guys, they're consistently ranked as they are last year. I feel like, or last week, sorry. I feel like there's not really much to say about them.
Well,
they're guys who we had
some under 50 pitches.
Sure.
So
we had some doubts on Schmidt and Abbott earlier in the year. Some were health related, some were pitch mix, but they've been pretty solid. And Schmidt's been really solid for a while now. Eovaldi's last start was kind of a rehab start, just in a big league rotation. And so I guess we don't see that. I'd assume we don't see that the next time out. But yeah, these are all. I mean,
it's tough, right? Under 50 pitches. I don't know how long it's going to take for Eovaldi to feel like, cool, he's going 6-7 innings again. Right. So that's really where his value lies. And this is really what's so annoying is that I have like a cherry bomb tier and then I have a holly tier, but they're definitely better than tier 8. So, but then tier 7 is definitely worse than tier 5. So I have these like 2 sets of 3 here, just splitting it all up.
Yeah. Interested to see what happens with the Eovaldi. Rangers, are 8 games under 500, I believe. And they're, he's on a 1-year deal, I believe, 1-year deal. Maybe he stays, maybe he goes. Who knows? Tier number 7, starts with number 36, Nick Pivetta, number 37, Shane Baz, and number 38, Jack Flaherty. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Ooh, okay. This one, this is going to be the slip and slide. Okay.
Okay.
Those things that like you see the box and the box is just like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. And like those slip and slides, like it's a castle, whatever. And like you actually inflate it. And sometimes it's actually pretty good. Like you're like, all right, this is really happy. But sometimes it's just like, man, this box made this look way better than it was. But the thing is, you get the thing and you're like, I got to use this right away. I got to go set it up. I'm going to go through all the pains to get this and make it work. And it's going to be great for a little bit, but we don't know if it's really going to last. And that's Nick Pivetta, home run rates. I don't know. It's the cutter with Shane Baz. It's a really exciting thing, but we don't know. And Jack Flaherty, I think he's been tipping for 2 games. And then the last game, he finally got a lot of whiffs on his curveball. I think he's much better now. And I feel like he's back on the mend and going back up the ranks again. So I'm excited for that next one for Jack Flaherty.
Which is interesting because it was tipping for or we think it was tipping for Shane Baz as well, who's also in this tier.
True.
But yes, the new cutter for Baz has been a really good addition as well. I know people were super concerned about him a couple weeks ago and talking about dropping him, so hopefully you held firm on that. Next tier number 8 starts number 39 Nick Lodolo, number 40 Drew Rasmussen, number 41 Clay Holmes, number 42 Noah Cameron, number 43 Matthew Boyd, number 44 Merrill Kelly, number 45 Lucas Giolito, number 46 Matthew Liberatore. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is a book, and I'm thinking about birthday gifts because like when you're younger, I don't know necessarily if I was like, oh, I want a book right now. I have ADHD, and so actually reading when I was younger was really hard because I wasn't diagnosed, and it was just a frustration point for me. And you're not really excited about it, but then as you get older, as you get more used to these guys, you really start to appreciate what they give you. And these are just those solid things of like, I buy a book as a gift all the time. It's knowledge is the second week in a row I'm going to make that stupid reference. This is the Holly tier.
I buy books. Well, I'm also a former English teacher, so I buy books. Like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. I get other things too, people. I get other things too, but I always make sure I'm getting a book.
Eric, what would you get me for? What book would you get me for a birthday present?
What book would I get you?
Yeah.
I'd have to do a little bit of digging, but I'd probably do a cool. No.
I need to hear it now. What is the book you're going to get me?
I don't know. Right off the bat?
Yes, you're an English teacher. You get books for everybody.
Yeah, but you just talked about how you have ADHD and you don't like sitting down.
I read now. I am diagnosed. So,
I was gonna get you something like the have you ever read the book by Kevin Baker? It's called The New York Game.
No.
And it's about the game. And Kevin Baker is an author that I really like, who has also written a lot of like novels about like kind of New York in the early 1900s or whatever. And he has a book called The New York Game about the rise of baseball in New York City. And I'd probably get you.
Beautiful. See, I knew you got something. Just got to pry it out of you.
Enjoy it. Well, listen, I'm a perfectionist, so it's hard. I want to give the perfect answer, and then I get nervous. So I want to ask you about Drew Rasmussen in this tier. Because he's gone over 85 pitches or over 90 pitches once this year. The last game pulled at 62 pitches.
Yeah.
5 shutout innings. No injury was reported.
No.
It feels a little bit like Tampa doing Tampa things. And that makes me a little bit nervous because now that they are firmly in the playoff mix, I don't know if this is how they're going to approach Rasmussen to make sure that he lasts throughout the season.
Well, I'll say this. They won 3-0 and he got the win.
True.
And right now he has 7 wins. Everyone is complaining, oh my gosh, Drew Rasmussen, you're not going to get me wins. You won't go deep into games. He has 7 wins and 16 starts right now. In 84 innings. And you're telling me it's the halfway point of the year, then great. That's like 150 innings you're getting from Drew Rasmussen this year, which is great. We're happy with 150, guys. Also, what do you get in those, 150? It's 2.45 ERA with a 0.96 whip. And yes, people want to focus on the pitch count, which I think is very interesting because you don't care about the pitch count. Your ERA doesn't matter with the pitch count.
Right.
He's still going at least 5 in these, right? They're pulling him early. They're cutting their losses. But if Drew Rasmussen pitched 90 pitches and got 5 innings, not a word. Nothing.
Well,
spoken.
Or the word would be he needed 90 pitches to get through 5 innings.
Yeah, but you're going to see the final line of it and nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Drew Rasmussen has been absurdly consistent at going 5 or 6 innings. And I have him lower because I recognize the strikeout rate and the total volume of strikeouts will be lower than I want it to be, especially now that the slider and the curveball are just kind of shelved and it's just really cutters and 4-seamers and sinkers. And okay, I get that. Fine. But those cutters and 4-seamers and sinkers are really hard to hit.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he has the 24th best PLV in the majors right now. And he has a 2.45 ERA with a 0.96 whip. So I think you're not going to not want him in your lineup
for sure
for the year.
I guess my thought was that if you know you're getting fewer innings because you know you're getting lower pitches, you're getting fewer chances to correct an early inning, blip. So if he gives up 2 in the first, but he's a guy who goes 6 or 7 most times, you know that you can kind
How
of
many
get
of those are
the
there?
ratios in check a little more.
Yeah, those are very few and far between. And we're talking
he doesn't
have
those blips
really.
as much, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the guys who does have those blips sometimes, but hasn't recently, and is going 6 or 7 innings almost all the time, is Lucas Giolito. We did the little seesaw where it was good start, bad start, good start, bad start. But now we're at like 4 straight pretty good starts. He is going deep into games most recently, almost every time out. It is still, I don't know, like it's not, I don't watch him and go, oh, it's this dominance, right? I mean, the strikeouts they've been fine. The strikeout rate hasn't really been there. The swinging strike rate is pretty pedestrian. But the 4-seamer has decent velo, and him leaning into it more has been pretty good for him. And then the slider and changeup have been good enough. The curve hasn't really developed at all. But I guess he's a true 3-pitch guy, and he's actually doing it like, Toronto, San Francisco, Tampa Bay. Like, he's succeeding against pretty solid offenses of late.
Man, yeah, it's funny. Like, Giolito, I think, is just settling into what I think initially I thought just be with a little fewer strikeouts at the moment. Like right now it's a 21% over the season, but that 10 strikeout game, but then followed up with 10 strikeouts across 2 straight outings. And I see someone who hasn't actually done the thing yet of all the 3 pitches working in tandem. That's obviously a big thing to ask for guys, but we've seen that from Giolito in the past. And in his last outing against Toronto, the slider actually was located incredibly well. Like, we actually got that slider doing what we wanted it to do location-wise. 70% strikes in that one. He allowed more hits, fair, but I'm cool with this pitch.
Yeah.
The changeup is the one that let us down, just 1 over 15 whiffs in that one. I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, fine. The 4-seamer settling in somewhere between 93 and 95 on a given night, totally cool with me. It's not the 91, 92. It's like clearly past that. We're seeing near 7 feet of extension. It's like 6.8 to 7. We're seeing a great vert on it. This all works. It's not, there is a path where he becomes that top 25 guy. It all works all the time. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's still that room for him to fall off more if we've seen the floor at this point. But I just think he's going to be better as he gets more innings, and it's good. I'm not going to expect him really to be that top 30 guy. It's just, he's going to have some ups and downs, and generally you're going to like it. He's going to go 6 innings for what is now a winning team. Are they a winning team now, Eric?
No, they're still under 500.
Yeah. Like 40 and 42 or something.
And Yoshida and Bregman will be back soon. And who?
Once you get Bregman back, that should help him out too. You get better defense.
No, Giolito scheduled to start on Friday, July 4th at 11:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that we think about that one game and that's the entire season in 2022, 23, because the Boston Marathon in Fenway. No, you'll be fine.
I still have him in my lineups, but yes, that is something I thought was funny when I looked it up, because it is the first thing you think of now after all this. Tier number 9 starts with number 47, Yuri Perez, number 48, Tanner Bybee, number 49, Gavin Williams, number 50, Grant Holmes, number 51, Luis Castillo, number 52, Landon Rupp. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Okay, so this is the one where you don't know what it is for a long time. Like, you open it up and you go, you feel it looks really cool, all this kind of stuff, but you're like smiling, like, what is it? Right? And you think it's really cool. And then they explain it to you and you're like, oh, I think this is great. This is going to be so much fun. But you're like, I don't know if I'm really going to like this though. And you go back and forth of is this a good gift or a bad gift? I don't know yet. And that's what tier 9 is.
But you tell people you're excited about.
Oh, of course. You're a very polite person. and you are absolutely not going to say anything, in front of the person giving you the gift. All that counts. They're giving you something, and just innately, it's awesome knowing that someone cares about you enough to give you that gift. That's what the thought counts means, guys. Okay? It's a thought that you have love being shared with you. But yeah, it's, you don't know what it's going to be.
Yep. I don't know what it's going to be for Yuri Perez. Like, on one hand, 89 pitches 2 starts ago, 93 pitches last start. They're happy to let him go, which is nice. On the other hand, command is all over the place coming back from Tommy John, which I guess we should have expected. It seems like every start has like 2, maybe 3 innings of him looking pretty good, and then an inning that's not so good, or 2 innings that are not so good. It feels like from a stuff standpoint, like all of his pitches are not quite as crisp as they were before. Added in the sinker, which we were talking about at first, but he's not using it all that often. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, because I think that this is going to be more, we won't see it click until 2026 sort of thing.
It's totally possible.
And I'm a little worried that he doesn't have a lot of value this year in like shallow leagues.
It's totally possible. I will tell you that the extension is lower, right? 6.5 versus 6.8 to 6.9 or so across his pitches. But he is getting more drop on his slider and also more sweep on his slider, which is a good thing stuff-wise. We're seeing with his curveball a much bigger break to it. We're talking 7 extra inches of drop at the cost of 1 velocity tick, and also seeing 7 inches of sweep added to it. So those are 2, like, okay, hold on a second. You're breaking balls before, which had good swing strike rates, but they weren't, in my view, that great. And it was kind of like he was getting away with it because his four-seamer was so dominant. And that's really the bigger question. It's, all right, why isn't your four-seamer doing the things that he used to do? Right. At the same time, it is a slightly higher swing strike rate. It is a slightly higher velocity than we saw in 2023 for Yuri Perez. Better contact allowed. It's more that these secondaries I'm talking about, we don't really know what's going to show up on a given day. And he doesn't have a changeup. He's trying to make the changeup work. Props to him, Yuri. But guys, it's 4 games. He literally just had his first one where he was allowed to go 90 pitches. The first one. And yeah, he labored with it because, again, foul balls are kind of a problem on his four-seamer, and they like forcing him to do other things. But I'm really encouraged by it, and I'm not willing to throw in the towel yet of saying it's next year. That said, yeah, I don't know which start it's going to be where it suddenly is like, oh man, okay, cool. You're feeling much better now.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like a Dustin May scenario that just doesn't feel like it's ever going to get there? Maybe. But I want to believe at this point that Yuri Perez is it's too soon to move on at this point, because ultimately the stuff isn't actually that much different, save for the extension. I really don't think that's enough to get off.
Yeah. This is like the dreaming on the upside thing, and I have hopes, and it's like this whole tier, man. Like Gavin Williams.
That's what this one is. This is one who can be that.
Gavin Williams and like why you can't get strikeouts anymore.
No, I mean Gavin is like always one step forward, one step back. Yeah. And in the last one, you finally got your velocity and your extension back. Bam, done. It was 94. No, I'm just kidding. It's 96, 97 with 7 feet of extension, like 7, not 6.8, 6.9. Like you went from 6.3 to 7. I got it. But then he couldn't get his four-seamer upstairs. It's like, no, you're so close. And he's still doing the cutter. Like, I'm still very much involved. It's just,
I think in many ways he's still learning how to pitch.
Yes.
And so there's going to be just more so than I expected. And so
that's fair. But I mean, we see this a lot of, right, they're figuring the thing out. And sometimes we just hope it's during the summer. You know, we think it, or not the summer, or sometimes during the winter, like there it is, cool. We just trust it throughout the year. But most of the time, I will say it is in season. We can just say, like, since this time, he was blank. Since July, it's honestly most of the time I say it since the start of July. You know, since like
you
July
heard it here.
3rd.
The Gavin Williams breakout starting this week.
Honestly, it could be.
It could.
That's
it
the
could be
thing about
any
it. That's what all
start. It
these
could
are.
happen.
It's the tiara, the turnaround right away, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it will, and I totally understand everybody who's like, I got to move on because I got to get, Michael Soroka or whatever is doing well, and I just got to get those innings that are providing value. Fine.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make the prediction of right now. Let's say we take the season in 3 months. I'm like, well, I'm going to probably say that Gavin Williams needs 3 weeks, and then it's much better than Michael Soroka. So I'm going to say that.
Yep. Michael Soroka, who leads off tier number 10. Number 53, Michael Soroka. Number 54, Michael Wacha. Number 55, Casey Mize. Number 56, Shane Smith. What's this tiny tier called, and why is it called that?
Well, I'll tell you what it is after this break. Eric, this is the sweater. Because you're going to get it, and when you're a kid again, it's like, I don't want clothes. I don't want this. But then you realize when you get older, especially that sweater that your grandma made you, you're so happy that you got it. It's such a fun thing. You can wear it to my annual ugly holiday outfit party.
Sure.
And it's a great time. And Eric, I'm surprised you've been there. No, you haven't been to one of those before, have you?
No.
Unbelievable. You didn't make it last year. Crazy. That's a real shame. It's a real shame. So you can wear that sweater. But yeah, these are the guys that are going to keep you warm. And
one of the first Christmas gift I got my mom was a sweater. She didn't care for it too much, and that's okay.
Oh wow.
Wow. I was a child picking out an adult sweater. What did I know?
That's pretty funny.
What I do know is that Michael Soroka has been leaning on that curveball, that slurve, I guess, depending on how you want to, distinguish it. But he's been leaning on it a lot more over the last stretch, and it has led to a lot of success for him. He is somebody that I covered in my starting pitcher news column last week for NBC Sports. That comes out on Wednesday all the time. Also noticed, thanks to the work from Alex Chamberlain over at his pitch leaderboard, that Soroka has changed his arm slot, has been gradually raising it, and has raised it 3 inches since the start of the year. And then the other thing is that he's lowered the four-seam fastball usage a lot and brought the sinker in a lot more. And over the 7 starts before this last one, the four-seam usage went from 49% down to 34%. The sinker usage is up a lot, and the sinker usage being up a lot has actually helped the four-seamer against righties, because he doesn't have to bury the four-seamer inside to righties. He can allow the sinker to do that for soft contact, and then can use the four-seamer around the strike zone. And I think that's been an interesting shift for him. But I think the big thing for me is the curveball usage. It's up to almost 40% now. So
a few things. Sinkers against righties. He really just had one game he didn't really do it, and that was the Rockies, because the curveball was just so good. And he just said no. The Rockies. The reason that the Rocky Road exists mainly is because they throw right-handers a lot up to the plate, and if you have any breaking ball, they will just fish. They will fish all day down and away. We saw that with Strider and with Holmes when they host Rocky Road. Soroka did the same thing. That's how it works. And actually, I don't see that much of a change. For example, against right-handers, like a 38% and a 26%, 28%. This was all in the middle of May.
He was out. He had one game, then he was out, and he came back at the end of May.
Right.
After the first 3 starts, so then.
So he faced Cleveland in the second one, where he's not going to throw a sinker because they have all lefties.
Right.
And then Atlanta, right versus lefty, it's somewhat consistent with right, a little bit more against lefties. Like, I guess he's done some front hip stuff, is my guess. I'm looking at this. I'm doing this all via the game log guys on our player pages. And you should use them too, because they're the best. And Eric does. And yeah, they're trying to do he's doing backdoor. I'm sorry, not backdoor. He's doing outside with them. I don't know if I like it. But the curveball, Eric, I gotta talk about this. Eric. Last start against the Angels, right? You would think, oh man, they throw all these right-handers against them. He's got to have a good curveball. He had this good game. How many whiffs do you think it had over 22 thrown?
How many whiffs do I think the curveball had?
in his last start, which was 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks.
I mean, it has been getting tons of whiffs, so I would normally say tons of whiffs, but because you asked me that question, I'm going to say it had like 1 whiff.
This is too leading. What do you think the strike rate was?
Again, another pitch he usually gets in the strike zone often, so probably like 45%.
So he got 0 on 22 whiffs. Thrown of the curveball, 0 whiffs with a 41% strike rate in that game, and that was one where his four seamer essentially did all the work. And it was upstairs and it worked well. And then we contacted all of that, and we got some outs also in the sinker as well. It was kind of a weird one, and that start actually made me go, "Oh, what's up? What's up, Soroka? Like, are you okay? Like, is everything fine?" He threw his four seamer 51% of the time in this one. And I'm like, oh man, like, because you're exactly right. I had the same whole thing against Texas, the Rocky Road and Dodgers. Like Dodgers, he took them down with that curveball. And now I'm like, oh, dude, what happened to the curve? It should come back. It should be. It was just so strange to see 0 out of 22 on that curveball. I'm like, dude, wow. And have that much success. But yeah, Soroka going four seamer, sinker, curve seems good enough. It looks like against the lefties, the four seamer is performing well enough that he's able to just throw that with the curveball, and that's fine. But that is the biggest worry still, is against lefties. He's trying to incorporate the changeup, Soroka is, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time, it's not 52% strike rate, 6% swing strike rate. So like against teams like Cleveland, where you know you're going to get a ton of lefties, maybe the Nationals. Oh wait, he pitches for the Nationals, but never mind. Good, he's crossed that one out. You might want to move away from Soroka, but against right-handers, that curve should just dominate with it. The sinker inside, as you mentioned, he is trusting that against right-handers, and that is working well for him.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in a couple of the names here in tier number 11 as well. It starts number 57, Yusei Kikuchi. Number 58, Mick Abel. Number 59, Jacob Lopez. Number 60, Ryan Nelson. Number 61, Edward Cabrera. Number 62, Jose Soriano. Number 63, Kumar Rocker. Number 64, Trevor Rogers. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This is a new piece of tech. I remember this. My parents got me this like MP3 player before like the iPod came out or something, and I remember you could put 30 songs on it, and it had this piece of software they had to switch to. So you're like, oh yeah, this seems really cool. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use this. I don't know if I want to use this, and it's just too confusing, and you don't use it anymore. And you see the potential. This thing could be really cool, but you don't really know if it's going to last at all. And that's all of these frizzles like Kikuchi and Jacob Lopez and such.
Yes, all the frizzles. We should say with Kikuchi, we've talked about some of the changes. There were some grip changes that were being made, but also there's a little bit of an approach change. But, Kikuchi has looked good recently. We talked about Jacob Lopez a lot last time. We talked about Kumar Rocker and the cutter last time. That has kind of continued, and he had
more cutters, baby.
Decent
more
start.
Cutters all the time.
And then Trevor Rogers goes today. He's up 33 spots after that 8 shutout inning start with Zach Eflin landing on the IL. It looks like Trevor Rogers won't lose his spot in the rotation when Cade Povich comes back. So we're going to get a little bit of runway here to see if Trevor Rogers can be an improved version of the guy we saw. Well, the improved version of the disappointment we saw last year.
Yes. A lot of this is command focus but like with Jacob Lopez, I mean, he's just doing the Ryan Yarbrough to a T with better velocity of just nibbling so effectively. Trevor Rogers went Blake Snell blueprint with 94 up top and stuff, like 93, 90, 92, and then the sliders and changeups underneath. So that's, man, you deserved a lot of that success in that game against Texas. But then again, also Texas is not a good offense. Fortunately, it gets them again. So that's fun. I don't know how much I can believe in that resurgence of Trevor Rogers quite yet. Jacob Lopez is a Vargas rule really at this point of as long as you're commanding like that, things are good. I don't know where that's going to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll see, today Lopez and Ryan Nelson both start Monday today. It'll be interesting to see because Ryan Nelson is somebody who I want to buy in. We've talked about how he's so four-seam dependent. It would be nice to see something else, but he's locked in that rotation now seemingly. And so there is talent. We saw him do it last year for a long stretch. And so I'm like optimistic, but I need to see a little bit more.
Yeah, as I'm doing this right now, I have moved them a little bit. I made it Rocker, Rogers, Ryan Nelson, Jose Soriano, Edward Cabrera. And really with Ryan Nelson, he has his best four-seamer he's had in a long time. So I'm excited about that. He just needs to get something for strikes underneath. That's really
I still like Cabrera, man. I still the added command with the sinker. I like.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if he gets traded, where he winds up. But I still am holding Cabrera in most places, playing him a lot. Like he's been pretty solid.
Yep.
There's a lot of red in tier number 12. It starts number 65, David Peterson, number 66, Jameson Taillon, number 67, Cade Horton, and number 68, Chris Paddock. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
Oh man, this one is the coupons you get from your sibling when you're a kid. Be like, you get one time to win an argument. You get them from the fridge, and it's just like, I mean, all right, but like, are you actually really going to use these? You know, you have them on your team because you feel like you have to. And you're wondering, like, okay, this is value, right? I have value here. I know I do, but is it something that I'm really going to be happy that I have value in? Because I mean, Jameson Taillon, I think we like now because the cutter and the sweeper are much better. Those are the big problems before. Last start we just saw from Taillon, almost got out of it against the Astros. He didn't. So I'm encouraged, but I don't know if it's going to be value. Cade Horton still has a little bit to tweak with his cut fastball, and
I'm like getting increasingly worried about Cade Horton in the sense that I just don't know if he's actually going to be more than a fine starting pitcher.
Right. I don't know.
Like I don't know what I'm like. Okay, maybe maybe it clicks and the upside hits. And then I'm like, okay, but what actually is the true talent upside of Cade Horton? I think it's pretty clearly not near Mizorowski and Burns and those guys in the Central. It's probably, we haven't seen Bubba Chandler in Major League Baseball, but it's probably not near the Bubba Chandler upside.
Yeah.
So like, what is the Cade Horton upside? I mean, I don't know if he's like a fantasy SP, like is he a fantasy SP3 in his best case?
Well, I mean, okay, he's very young. And one comparison I remember hearing someone say, might have been you, was the way that he utilizes different shapes on his four-seamer and different shapes on his breaking balls is it kind of looks like Justin Steele. And Justin Steele is pretty dang good when he's healthy. So I think it's something over time. If he develops to change it properly, he becomes that really good Holly, like, you know, in the top 25 or so. And that's cool. That's what we're hoping for from Cade Horton. Not really this flamethrower 30% strikeout rate. And that's fine. As of now, are we going to get it? I don't know. I think it's more like a 2026 good pick in March or so.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm trying to see what we're going to get from him this season. Right.
Yeah. I get that. I'm losing a little bit of faith. That helps a little bit. Tier number 13 starts with number 69, Kevin Gossman, number 70, Jack Leiter, number 71, David Festa, number 72, Charlie Morton, number 73, Zach Littell, number 74, Jose Barrios, number 75, Sawyer Gibson Long, and number 76, Sandy Alcantara. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
This is something that you're going to reflect on a lot as you get it, and it's going to be photos. And sometimes you're going to get these photos from friends that you like, this is really exciting, it's fun, and whatever. Then you realize you're not friends with them anymore for good reason, and you don't want to look at these photos ever again.
That's so sad. But
yeah, I know. Sometimes that happens. Maybe not. You know, these guys could be the ones that you know forever. That's great.
Yeah, potentially. But yeah, Jack Leiter, David Festa, that makes sense. I really think Zach Littell, you have him up here. That's great. I still think Zach Littell gets traded. He's a free agent at the end of the year. This is what the Rays do. They have Joe Boyle sitting there in AAA. You could trade Zach Littell to somebody who needs an SP5. You could pick up an interesting prospect. You could put Joe Boyle in the rotation, and you don't lose Zach Littell for nothing in free agency. It just feels like such a Rays thing to do.
Well, I mean, but they're competing.
But do you think that by taking Littell out of the rotation and calling up Joe Boyle that they would make their starting rotation
I mean,
worse?
there's one thing that we've learned it's starting pitching depth for contenders is so important.
Sure.
And so if the Rays are very much of like, we have things that are going to help us, we're going to squeeze everything out of that, I wouldn't think they would give it up. Right
Unless
they
feel good about where McClanahan's at. They also have Ian Seymour in AAA. So
could be different in a month. Absolutely.
Yeah. They could have some depth that they feel good about. I don't know. Just
yeah.
Sits in my head. I keep thinking about it.
They're going to get Bailey Falter at the deadline anyway. So might as
They
well
are,
get rid of
maybe.
Vitello now.
Yeah, why not? Team number 14 starts at number 77, Eduardo Rodriguez, number 78, Clayton Kershaw, number 79, Chad Patrick, number 80, Justin Robleski, number 81, Ben Kasparius, and number 82, Quinn Priester. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is the story from your grandfather. That's all you get for your birthday. You just get a lovely story, and it's kind of boring. You know, sometimes it's a great story, you know, and you're gonna cherish it, but sometimes it's just like, all right, Grandpa, that's all you can get me. Okay, I get
Thanks.
it. I appreciate it.
These guys are pretty close, but it seems like you have, and recent results have pushed you to Robleski over Kasparius in terms of that preferred
It's
bulk.
Just, I mean, look, the guy just did well again, and it's like, all right, I don't know what you're going to do, Dodgers, but I get the sense that you are figuring out who we can trust in a given time. They're going to go with the hot hand more.
Right.
So I want to give him just the favor in that regard. But I don't know. I think Kasparius still has more interesting stuff with him. But Robleski at 95, 96 is kind of cool.
Yeah, he has been good. Like, he's been very interesting. And so, you know, I get it. I'm buying into what he's doing a little bit there. I'm also intrigued by, I still think, you know, Quinn Priester, the changes the Red Sox made to the pitch mix in the offseason, you know, Milwaukee has continued to optimize that in a way that's been really successful. I think Priester's been good. I think Eduardo Rodriguez has been the beneficiary of a pretty nice schedule the last couple starts.
Well, same with Quinn Priester, though, to be fair.
Okay, fair.
And same with Clayton Kershaw as well. These are, you know, something that I'm doing this week on the list is after that hipster tier with Kevin Gausman, tier 14, 15, 16, 17 is this weird mix of it's a streamer tier, and then we have some interesting upside tier guys, and then more streamers, and then some other random upside guys, right? So these are really considered like 1 week move on kind of arms. So Eduardo Rodriguez, fine, yeah, like go get Miami again, or you just got Miami, gets another good matchup. Sure, keep rolling with it.
Yeah. One guy here, I'm sure you know who I want to talk about, but tier number 15 starts with number 83, Blade Tidwell. Number 84, Richard Fitz. Number 85, Didier Fuentes. Number 86, Hayden Birdsong. Number 87, Max Scherzer. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is the Homer bowling ball. Like it you know, the Homer, you know, the bowling ball from The Simpsons where he gives it to
yes.
And it's kind of one of those
in my head, I was like a bowling ball.
I know
like
someone is excited
Homer
about these. Ball. I know someone's excited about it. I don't know if it's me. Because like I can make it out that I am like Richard Fitz. I feel like, oh man, like you're not bad. You know, it could work out,
True.
But you know, we'll see. DDA Fuentes, I think, has the potential. Like it's a very, very, very flat four-seamer at 96, which is really cool. And you have Blade Tidwell is making another return to the majors against the Brewers. That could be good. Hayden Birdsong, you guys know how I feel about that one. Right. And Max Scherzer, maybe he finds a slider against the Yankees, and it's actually okay as he was a tick up with his velocity and is still out.
Yeah, listen, Scherzer, I recorded a video on him for the NBC Sports website. Like Scherzer is never, I don't think he's ever going to be bad. When we've seen him on the mound, he's always been solid. But the strikeout rate has reduced every year for I believe the last 4 years. And maybe he's like a high 3 ERA guy with middling strikeout numbers. And in a deeper format, that's not going to hurt you. Like that's a fine 15-team league type of arm. But I just don't know that he has the upside that, you know, we saw from him in the past. You know that I'm still, you know, mildly in the bag for Richard Fitz. It was nice seeing the velocity in this kind of like full return back. The secondary stuff, it wasn't great. I watched this outing. It was more inconsistent than I would have liked to have seen from an execution standpoint, but he didn't really hurt you. And I do still think that there's some upside in that arm. I think, you get to this point in the year where it's like hard to find a lot of stuff on the waiver wire. Fitz is somebody where like it wouldn't shock me if he was really usable for you for a 4 to 6 week period if the command and the secondary start to click in, but it also wouldn't shock me if he got lit up in his next 2 starts and is not in the rotation.
Yeah, I question if he really has enough electricity to maintain for that kind of period of success and like just overall polish. But what he does is good. It's just not really. I'm curious what we're going to get against the Reds. I mean, I do like that one against the Reds carpet, right?
Sure.
It isn't Fenway, but that's still fine. It's okay. Just get out of Great American Ballpark. I'll take the fewer home runs in Fenway for more hits. That's okay with me. So that's cool. I don't know if it's going to be something like the Cutter Crawford experience from last year in the first half or something like that. But yeah, I'm very curious. Hopefully it's not Fitz, we sits.
Clever. I like that. And I do think at this point, we'll see how the start goes against the Reds. But when Kyle Harrison joins the rotation, which I think will be as early, it might be as early as next week, but it could be in 2 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where he might take Walker Buehler's spot over Richard Fitz's spot.
Maybe they can deal him away.
They might. They honestly might. Or there's like a phantom IL thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, they might. They could deal Buehler away. He might need to, go home to the Dodgers where they feel like they can quote unquote fix him or whatever.
Oh my God.
Who really knows? Their teammate leads off tier number 16. It's Brian Bayo at number 88. Number 89, Brandon Pfaadt. Number 90, Brandon Walter. Number 91, Colton Gordon. Number 92, Tomoyuki Sugano. Number 93, Andre Payente. Number 94, Eric Fede. Number 95, Dietrich Enns. Number 96, Dustin May. And number 97, Jeffrey Springs. What's the tier called and why is it called that?
This is the generic gift card. This is not the Amazon one or the Visa one where it's actually money. Gift cards are where they say, hi, I'm going to take your money that can be used anywhere and make it so you can only spend it in one place.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much, Eric.
I know that.
You notice how this is tier 16 and the other one was tier 2? Don't turn a gift from tier 2 to tier 16, everyone. Okay?
Don't do it.
All right.
Don't you do it.
It's just, it drives me up the wall. What you can do is you can say, here's some money. And by the way, I suggest spending it here. They don't have to, but like, oh gosh, gift cards, don't do it. And look, this is what it is. Like you'll get it and you'll be like, cool, I can spend this for a week. This is like one thing in this one time. Sorry, I can spend this for this one time because these are streamers. Okay. But that's it. This one place. Ugh, hate it.
Ugh. Brandon Pfaadt started throwing the cutter again. We've seen it before. It'd be nice if
that stuck around. That'd be cool.
It stuck. Who knows? Brandon Walters looked pretty good. Had one hiccup. Goes to Coors. We'll see what happens there. Bayo, listen, the floor for Bayo is raised with this cutter. But I'm me. I'm not like. Yeah. I don't think the changeup is the pitch it used to be, and so I'm not banging the table.
I'm not really in on Bayo. Yeah.
Yeah. Dietrich Enns, just a fun name to say. Hopefully he sticks around a little bit.
Yeah, I worry if he's not going to perform against the Nationals, who might go more lefty against him, and I think actually speaks better to facing righties with his fastball changeup combo. So I'm curious how that one plays out. This is
the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. This podcast ends with tier number 17. It's number 98, Zach Gallen. Number 99, Lance McCullers Jr. and number 100, Luis Castillo. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is the one where you open up the gift and it's a thing that someone else thinks that you want and you don't at all. Like this is just completely not the thing you want. Like, no, Mom, I don't. You got me fantasy football. Like, I don't. What am I going to do with this?
What are you going to do with Zach Gallen? Are you flat out dropping him?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, look, this is the thing you got to do in 12 teamers. If you're not going to start him for 2 starts, you're done. That's it. Like you really, for the most part, you just can't do that on your team unless it's like extreme matchups of like, okay, he faces the Dodgers twice or something like that. You know, if they're going against an average team and you're not starting them, that's really it. You just don't want them on your team. And you really need to assess like, okay, I probably would get a stream response set. And I often say a bird in the hand worth two in the bush. It's really like 5 in the bush when it comes to value now versus value later.
Sure.
So really assess. I mean, I'm saying that with the Erie Perez, like, oh, I still like that more. I think that's more bankable than what we're dealing with Zach Gallen personally. But it's just rough, man. It is so difficult to know what's going to happen with Zach Gallen. Maybe it's good in August when he's on a different team, because I got to think the Diamondbacks are going to deal him and somebody thinks they can fix him. But yeah, you can drop him.
Can I ask you about somebody who didn't appear on this list, and I want to make sure it was intentional?
Go ahead.
Bailey Ober.
Bailey Ober, absolutely intentional.
Okay. We acknowledge that he is pitching hurt right now and probably shouldn't be, but it is drastically impacting the product that we're seeing on the mound.
Well, here's the thing. The last start, if you just look at the strike zone plot, was probably one of the better ones that he's had, even though he allowed 4 home runs. And that was one of the rare times I saw like maybe half of his 4-seamers in high location, and he actually located his changeup somewhat well, opposed to more of the scatter plot with it. And it still didn't go well. Yeah. And that's kind of, to me, the final nail in the coffin of just like, yeah, throwing this at lower velocity, not being extreme high location, and having a worse changeup, and also still not a very good slider and cutter, and also being hurt. It's just the whole thing is just like, you can't do it.
We get to these moments where, like, he has publicly mentioned pitching through a hip issue. The Twins have mentioned trying to tweak his mechanics to allow him to get through it. And you just kind of wonder, like, why are we still doing this? It's very clear that he is not. I get it that, like, Pablo is hurt and Zebby's hurt. And so maybe they feel like they don't have a clear guy to take his spot. But I just don't understand what the upshot is here.
Yeah, it's so silly
to try to coax him through whatever this injury is. And then, like, listen, I'm not going to put this out there because I don't like putting bad juju out there and like some injury juju, but like Max Meyer pitched through discomfort, then felt pain, then went on the IL, then had hip surgery. So like, if it's not working out for Ober and he's dealing with this injury, like why are we, I just don't get it. Why are we making it
either? Yeah.
But it's frustrating. And I think for fantasy, you're right. Like, you kind of have to move on right now, because your only hope for fantasy is they put him on the IL. He's out for a month and comes back and maybe is healthy, but then that's a month of getting nothing anyway. So I don't know. It's not going to click in. It's only going to click in when he heals, and who knows if that's going to even happen this year. So it's
really just not worth it.
Turn. Yeah. Well, it's time for me to go celebrate a little birthday.
Woo!
Make a little dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you all for staying around with us. Again, as Nick said at the beginning, we're going to be here all summer, even when people stop paying attention in your leagues, even when people go on their vacation and they're at the beach. Who needs a beach? Nick and I are going to be here talking about starting pitching.
Absolutely.
I am Eric Samulski, the Pelican.
I'm Nick Pollack, the Lion.
I'm going to go blow up a balloon.